All right, so welcome back to another episode of the Gray Area Podcast. I'm the host, the Mchezo Bwana, here with my co-host TJ. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How you doing, man? I'm just here, staying positive. How about you?
Yeah, having a good day. I also want to mention to the people, and I'll put the number in the chat. If you want to actually call in right now while we're doing a podcast live on Blog Talk Radio, number you can call in at is 515-605-9342. Again, it's 515-605-9342, and it's in the chat. Now, so a couple of things have happened since the last podcast. People celebrated MLK Day, and I showed you something where I guess Black Lives Matter had released a video of a black female twerking, and that was supposed to represent some kind of liberation, I guess, and is somehow supposed to fight racism or anti-black behavior and actually give black people some kind of respect and power in this country. So I don't think it did that. I thought it was kind of stupid, and a lot of people thought it was stupid and degrading. And then one of the explanations that the girl gave, what I heard is that she was expressing herself and something about being a female and mad because y'all don't have the confidence to express yourself like that. You've seen it, so I just want to ask you: do you think that helps fight racism?
No. No.
Okay. I was just wondering.
So here's the thing. Like in America, the way that we look at and maybe it is from African roots. Maybe it is. I can't speak on that because I haven't learned about it. And maybe it 100% is from African roots. Like working is some kind of the way we do it now in America is based on something that happened.
What if it is?
In Africa. Yeah, but what is the way that we look at it now is just like you're trying to be sexy as fuck. You're trying to be sexy, trying to just like put yourself out there and stuff like that. Like I will never I don't believe in slut shaming or anything like that. Like women should be able to do what they want. But I don't see, I 100% do not see what it has to do with what should be a movement that has a little more respect, right? And not that every girl that twerks is some kind of hoochie or whatever. It's just like a time and a place, right? You don't do it in a restaurant, and you don't do it for a movement where you're trying to gain respect.
Well, that's if you're trying to actually have a movement where you're trying to gain respect and actually make change. One could point to evidence that that's not what they're really about, and that this is just an organization that has collected some money, and what's the slogan? And told you before, 90% of these activists. Hold on for a second. I told you before, 90% of these activists are doing it for clout. You already seen in one video the one albino Black Lives Matter guy who was using money to flex and stunt, right? And he's not the only one. Supposedly this organization has gotten over $10 billion. So where's the money? You haven't done anything to change any laws. That's what the money is for. So looks like what a lot of people are saying, that this is just some BS. What are your thoughts on that?
You have to pick. You have to pick what you want people to see you as. Like, what kind of perspective or what kind of image do you want to put out there? And just throwing it all kind of ways. Twerking's a black thing. Yeah, we're going to put that out there because Black Lives Matter. No, it's like, I'm not saying like you have to go out there and act like white people. I'm not saying you have to go out there.
What is that like white people? Hanging people from trees? A barbaric behavior?
No, I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
The Capitol building? What is that? You got to specify.
Shut up, man. Like, I'm in the middle of talking. And I don't really know what the fuck it is. Like, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, like, I don't know what that is, but, I'm not saying you don't have to be yourselves, but you have to pick, like, again, there's a time and a place, right? We talked about this with the lady who was twerking in a black-owned restaurant, and he was like, get the fuck out of here, man. That's trashy. right? It just wasn't. It's not a time and a place. There's a time and a place. Like I don't see how that's empowering.
Okay, yeah.
I don't get how that's
I don't see how
empowering.
it's empowerment either. So seems like
yeah.
it's just an organization that's collecting money, and using the funds for other
it's
things.
Kind of like rap. That's what I was trying to say initially, real quick, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of like rap, right? Like rap is truly an art form. It's an art form. It's great. I love it, but there's a difference between explaining what happens in the streets, or explaining what happens to black people, or explaining how you grew up, versus glorifying, right? One of my favorite rappers, Nas, he talked about, how his life was growing up, but he's not sitting here saying like, yeah, I love doing that shit. And then you get other rappers who were like, yeah, man, I love fucking popping people. I love popping N-words. I love killing people.
It's hate speech.
I love dealing drugs.
It's hate speech. If it was any other, if they said it about any other group, they wouldn't be able to release the song. But the fact that they talk about killing black people, you can go platinum. So it's just telling. It's telling that, again, before I said this, people put money ahead of race first and foremost, and you can't expect the coward to do the right thing. The coward will avoid doing the right thing, in most cases. So, and when I talk about people putting money before race, this is all races. So, you got these people that sell out for a few dollars. A lot of these rappers are simps too, so you got to understand that, So you're not really dealing, and you're dealing with people that's kind of just acting. You know what I'm saying? Really, rap is entertainment, and if you are selling drugs and you rapping about it, you're not really a smart drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of stupid.
That's one of my favorite things, is because it makes no sense and it makes you look like a pussy. Is like when rappers talk about, yeah, I'm gonna steal your girl because I got this money. I was like, if you can steal my girl just because you have money and you're famous, then I didn't need that bitch in the first place. Just like you say, is like, if she's worth, if she could be taken, she's not worth having.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So, yeah. So go ahead, take her. If you can take her, go ahead, man. It doesn't hurt my feelings. You just helped me out.
Yeah, so, yeah. And so moving on to the next story, it's kind of speaking about the twerking and stuff like that. Well, I guess it's a segue. You saw the one story that was circulating around media about the two black LGBT females that moved to Indonesia and started making posts about how great the life was there and how they were queer friendly and people need to come there and all this and that. And then you saw where a lot of the native Indonesians were kind of upset about that. Now, I do personally have some Facebook friends that are in Papua New Guinea, and I see that they complain about the Indonesians for years about some of the racism that they experienced and some of the oppression. And, I just saw that when we say stuff like what the Indonesians are saying, talk about don't come here and you're exploiting us and exploiting our land and you're not of this culture, it kind of just made me think like, well, hold on. When Americans say that, then we're considered bad people or xenophobic or racist. And some people are.
Yeah.
But not everybody is. Sometimes you just want to make sure that, hey, we don't want to have too many people come up in here and bring bad habits that we don't want. And it's not really culturally assimilating. You know what I'm saying? So, and it also just went to the point of social media playing into people's ego and just need for status. I told you, it's really money and status is the two biggest factors that I see in this society. Money and status, and it's pretty much, they seem to interchange on which one is more important because everybody doesn't need money. They will more so want attention, and so that's where the status comes in at. So, I just wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, that's a shame because, I used to be that way too. Like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And people can say what they want, but, more than likely I probably made more money than people who listen to this podcast, because, the amount of money I made put me in the top 12% of this country. That's over 100,000. About 12% of people in this country make over $100,000. and I have nothing to show for it. So, I had to come back. I had to live with my fucking parents, man. And I realized, how much of this shit, like, is just bullshit. Like, and if you're really confident in yourself and you're really, like, you really understand what makes you happy, money is secondary, at least. It might even be tertiary. But I think that it is a capitalist society, and we're raised in America to worship money and status, and it's ridiculous, because people will buy $100,000 car before they'll buy $100,000 house. They'll buy a $300,000 house before, and won't have the money to put furniture in it. It's stupid. I don't get it. I 100% don't get it. And I used to be that way, but now I'm like, so like when we talk about, money solves money problems for real. But, I'm not gonna do anything for the Joneses. I'm gonna do everything for me, and I really don't care how people perceive me. But I think it's really sad that people.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I just was gonna say, I think it's really sad that people live to impress other people. I just don't get that. I mean, you have to do that in some kind of way. I mean, you can't show up to an interview looking like a bum.
Right, it's a
like
balance.
You live in the street. Yeah, there is a balance, but there's a lot of people accept it like this. Like, if I went out and I had like $1,000 worth of clothes on, and I had a BMW or fucking Ferrari or whatever, and that's all I had to my name, I can get any girl to go to a hotel with me. And that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, a lot of people just want to be accepted by people, even if it means not being themselves. And that's one of the problems we have in this society, is this society is really based off of lies and a lot of fake stuff. So it's no surprise, really. I wanted to speak about a book called Neuro Wisdom that actually kind of states that people prefer money. It says money makes you happy. They said, would you prefer wealth or happiness? And they basically broke it down that, most people become happy because of wealth. So, and this is research. It's a book called Neuro Wisdom. But back to the story about the LGBT black females being deported from Indonesia, supposedly for, I think it was like they overstayed their visa or something like that. But do you think, she said she got deported because she LGBT, but she also mentioned that they were queer friendly. So do you think it was more likely that they got deported because they were LGBT or because they were black?
They got deported because they weren't from there. That's why they got deported. Their visas expired. I don't think it's because they're LGBT or black. They just, their visas expired. I don't know anything about Indonesia. Like, I can't tell you how they feel in that country, if they're racist or not. Like, I don't know. But what I will say about the girls is that, they're all happy to run away and be in some other country that just accepts them, instead of coming back to the country that they're from, have a little bit of loyalty. I understand why they don't have loyalty. I understand how this country works. But trying to fix this country.
Well, I mean, that's what a lot of immigrants did, though. I mean, that's not what people like that do. You know what I'm saying? They actually run from the situation. I mean, that's why you have a lot of immigrants come from
I understand that
from different countries that are going through turmoil, and they come over here like, hey, we ain't gonna fix this. We just gonna leave and go to the other place. So, I mean, she's just an American that did that in another place.
Well, Mchezo, what would you do? What would you do if you lived in those other countries? You have the means, you have the ability, you have the intelligence to come to America and succeed. What would you do?
I don't know. I would think I would stay, but if I had to come here,
same thing.
I don't know. I don't think so. Because people stay. People stay in these places. I mean, the whole thing is, I can't come over. See, the thing is, you know what it is some of them, not all of them, will come over here with, they'll have a messed up mindset where they come to undermine us. And you just came from a place where the government was messing up.
Well,
so you want to come over here and undermine us.
So,
you doing the exact same thing to us that you running from.
I get that.
You understand?
I get that, and yeah, I get that. And honestly, like, you know, from my side of it is like, I'm not fighting with immigrants. Again, you know, I'm white, I'm male, I'm middle class. You know, I'm everything that, you know, people, when they think about this country, this is what they think of, right? Or when they think about an oppressor, this is what they think of. I'm that guy. You know, the picture of that guy is me. So if you live in the Bengals country, and you know all you have to do to get a Super Bowl is move over to the United States, which is Patriots country, or used to be Patriots country, right? And all you want is a Super Bowl, what are you going to do? You're going to fucking move to Patriots country.
They don't want no Super Bowl, man.
You know what I mean?
They willing to live. Some of them are willing to live under oppression as long as they have somebody else to feel like they're better than. As long as they can get more privileges than somebody else, they cool with it. And this is not all this is.
You know, well, they're not the only ones, and you know, it's
I'm not saying they are.
Black Americans.
I'm not saying they
Black
are.
Americans, like, well, Black Americans have to be, you know, for some reason, Black Americans are like, man, at least I don't have it as bad as them. You know, like, well, what you're talking about is like immigrants and fucking, you know, poor whites and stuff like that. Is like, at least I'm not Black American.
It's not. It's just poor whites. It's rich whites too. Rich whites.
Well,
rich racist whites are the problem.
No. I'm just talking about the most common.
They're the worst ones.
Well, the rich whites might be the worst ones because you'll never know. You'll never know if they're.
Well, I mean, we see what their policies do. We see what they produce, and dude, the reason the society is sick and weak is because the people that actually are doing this stuff are sick and weak. It's a basically just a manifestation of what they want to put out.
Well, and here's my friend said something really interesting. This is the guy that was very pro-Trump when he voted for Trump. Now he's anti-Trump. After I gave him a couple books, you know, to read, he's very anti-Trump. He's anti-government. And he realized, you know, like he's come a long way, is what I'm trying to say. But he made a good point, and I think he's absolutely right. He just put it better than I could. Was, you know, at this point, government's not going to change racism. It's going to come down to, you know, changing laws and things like that aren't going to change racism. It's going to come down to everyday interaction between people. And it really is the hardest part. You know, we talk about this all the time.
Think about that. You know, it's hard for some people to be civil.
Well, and that's just it. And it's not even, you know, I keep trying to tell you this, and it's really a very sad thing because it makes it very, very hard to convince people. Is number one, they think it doesn't exist. Some of them. Number two, they think it does.
But some of them have those feelings. Let's talk about the people. Go ahead.
Hold on. Yeah, just let me finish. So one, some people don't think it exists. Two, some people think, you know, it exists, but they're never one of them, right? You know, the white people who talk about, like, yeah, there's racism in this country, but I'm not racist. Or three, all of them, every single one of them does not want to admit they're wrong. Does not want to admit, white not want to admit that they have an advantage in the society. I told you the other day, you know, about a month ago, you know, before Christmas, I got tackled by a cop, and I hit the motherfucker. And this dude did not take me to jail. If I was black, I'll tell you right now, I'd be in jail. I couldn't talk to you, and I couldn't vote. I'd be a felon.
So you didn't mention the racists that admit that they're racist and just like to do harm to people. So the fact that you have to argue with these people about being civilized it shows that these people want to go back to barbarism and prefer barbarism.
I'm not worried about those people. You're more worried about those people, and you shouldn't be.
I never said I was worried about those people. I'm saying these people exist, and these people refuse to be civilized. So
you shouldn't.
That's a problem.
The outward racists are not the ones you need to be worried about. Or you need to think about.
You should be worried about any racist because it's a mental
hold on.
disability.
Let's talk about the outward ones.
It's a personality disorder.
No, or it could be a societal sickness. Now let's talk about. I think it's a societal sickness because I believe.
Then it's a sickness. It's a sickness.
Well,
Whatever you want to call it, it's a sickness.
Well,
that people refuse
but it is a sickness
to heal themselves from.
So no, hold on. Let's talk about
so
the
they
outward
become a
races.
problem on other people.
Let's talk about the outward races. Nobody takes outward racism seriously, and that's not even the most dangerous form of racism. So for the people that wear hoods and walk down the street and stuff like that, they don't have the power that they used to. They're not going around hanging motherfuckers. Because the rest of society won't let them.
So who is? Who is?
I mean, it may still happen every once in a while. I don't know, but
so who are the people that's doing it? So why are you speaking on stuff you know nothing about?
What the fuck are you talking about? When's the last time you heard about someone being hanged, you idiot? Like, when's the last time you heard about someone being hanged?
This is the barbarism I'm talking about. So you argue with me about something you can easily Google that can be proven. So you arguing with me about something you don't know about. And then you call me the idiot when actually the information is out there for you to Google. Just Google black male hangings.
So hold on.
Just Google black male hangings. There is no argument.
So weren't those guys, did they commit suicide?
Just Google black male hangings.
So people still hang black men, is what you're saying.
Just Google black male hangings.
Okay, so these are the people that we have to worry about.
So you don't think people would do that? I mean, you did see George Floyd get murdered on social media, right?
Okay, so yeah, I do believe people would hang black males.
Did you see it or not?
No, we're not going to do this.
Did you see it or not?
Yes
I'm
or
just
no.
asking you a question.
I'm not doing it with you.
You're not answering it.
I'm not doing it with you.
Because you can't answer the question. You keep going back and forth and not answering the question because you don't like the answer.
No, you're trying to control the conversation. I'm not going to fucking have that.
I'm just asking you a question.
I'm just not going to do it.
You keep going around in circles.
No, you're going to.
If I want to go around in circles, I'll play Duck, Duck, Goose. Other than that, if you're afraid to answer the question, we can just move on.
I'm not fucking going around in circles. No, I'm not going to do the
all right,
yes or no
let's just move on
to the next.
you, man. Let's just move on to the next subject.
Yeah, fucking move on. Give me a yes or no on the next one. I'm not going to fucking do that. What you're trying to do is control the conversation, and you're not going to fucking do that with me, dude. Like,
but you don't answer the question.
You think you are.
Okay, who
Because
said
I don't
that?
want to answer your
you
fucking question,
that.
man.
You said that. You said that. I
You're
never
framing
said
the question.
When did I say I was a genius?
You're framing the question in a certain way so you get an answer that you want. I'm not fucking playing that game with you, dude. You're not this fucking genius that you think you are, dude.
So when did I say that? When did I say I was a genius?
Man, you said that several times, man. People said I should run for office. People say I'm the prophet of my generation. People say I'm a genius.
I never said people said I'm the prophet of my generation. I never said that.
Yeah, you did.
And people did say I should run for office.
Yeah, you should not. you absolutely should not.
Why is that?
Dude, you shouldn't. You don't have it, dude. You just don't have it. You think you have it.
I don't have what?
You don't have the ability. You don't have the intelligence. You don't have the smarts. You don't have the capability to talk to other people. You just don't have it, dude.
Okay.
And you think you do. And, no, I'm just telling you, man. I'm being straight up with you because, like, I don't need this.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? No, I'm being straight up with you. Is like, I respect your opinions and stuff like that, but like when you go off and try to bully me into a corner.
Sorry, you called me an idiot. You said I was unintelligent, and I'm going off.
Yeah, I'm going on. This is all stuff I wanted to tell you before, man. It's like you're not a fucking genius, dude.
Sorry, you called me an idiot. You said I wasn't intelligent, and you told me to shut the fuck up. And you're saying I'm going off on you?
Yes, dude, because you kept interrupting me. You kept trying to bully me. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm sitting here defending myself. And by the way, you may hate to hear this, and I will show you the proof. I am an actual genius, bro. I actually took the test. You are not. You just think you are.
Okay.
All right? No, it's not okay. It's the fucking truth. You want to hear the truth? That's the truth. Now, we can go on to the next subject, but don't ever try to run over me like that again, man. I'm fucking tired of that shit. Don't give me those yes or no fucking questions and tell me I don't want to answer them. Don't do that.
But did you answer?
That's fucking bullshit. I don't need to answer every fucking one of your questions, man. I don't need to answer questions. So which questions are you willing to answer? No. Yes or no questions are bullshit, and you should know that.
Why should I know that?
Fucking gray area. the world is a gray area. It's not always yes or no. It is not always yes or no. So you need to stop asking yes or no questions. You have to stop
so
doing
you don't want me to ask.
what
What kind of questions would you like me to ask?
When you ask yes or no questions, what you're doing is you're trying to steer the conversation to your benefit. And I'm not going to play that game.
What makes you think
what
that?
You're doing is because you're framing the question. Here's what you do. Hey, did you see this? Yes or no? And I would say,
well, did
no,
you
I didn't
see it?
see
Yes
it.
or no?
Okay. Who cares? It wasn't even part of
I want to know if
we were
you've
talking
seen
about.
it so you can actually have a reference and you can actually talk about this subject.
It was totally not what we were talking about. We were talking about black men being harmed.
What are you talking about?
And then you went to George Floyd. Like, what the fuck?
Because you said people aren't hanging black men, and then I said, well, you can look it up. And then I said they also killed a black man on social media. You said, yes, they do. Then you said, well, maybe they are hanging black.
Next subject.
All right, so you saw one. So you saw the one tweet by Christian Pachinto, I guess is his name. Supposedly he's an anti-racist. He was a former extremist, and he does what a lot of these fake allies do. They act like they actually are on the side of black people, but they never actually identify any races or actually talk about any punishments for racists. So you saw the tweet. He basically said he was on a show with a white supremacist and he walked off. I said, but he said, I'm not going to say the white supremacist's name. So I said, well, why won't you tell a white supremacist's name so we can know who this person is so we can watch out for him? So he basically, you saw what he did. He gaslighted. So I said, hey, man, why don't you come on the podcast and basically we can discuss this. We can go over some stuff. And he refused. I mean, this guy's just like Tim Weiss and a lot of the other people, fake allies. Another thing.
You think Tim Weiss is a fake ally?
I know Tim Weiss is a fake ally because I spoke to I had communications with Tim Weiss, and he just got super aggressive when I said something he didn't like, and started name calling.
You do understand. You come up aggressive. That's why I just acted the way I did. You understand. You come up really aggressive.
I apologize for that, man.
No, I apologize for calling those names. Like, no, for real.
No, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Now, but the thing is with Tim Weiss, he lied and said I was in a cult. Because I called him out for something he said. I think he did another one of these with the same thing the dude did, where he talked about somebody that was racist, but then he didn't want to actually talk about what should be done about it. So then he starts saying, I'm in a cult and I'm just a follower, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And then he kind of backed off, I guess, once he started, reading my tweets. But
did you send any of that Tim Weiss stuff to me?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
no.
Because I actually really respect Tim Weiss as a white ally. So
how is he a white ally?
A little more in depth.
What does Tim Weiss do that makes him a white ally?
Have you ever seen? So apparently, if you're going to talk to this guy, you've seen him, do these talks and stuff like that. He actually knows. He knows the history a lot better than a lot of people. I think that's what he majored in. Honestly, it was African American history.
What does Tim Weiss do that makes him an ally?
He goes out there and talks about and tries to educate other white people about what racism is.
About not being barbaric.
Wait, all right. Now, what are you getting at with this barbaric thing?
I'm just
I understand.
Do you think? Hold on. Let me answer that question. Then what are you talking about then? Then if you already know the answer, why are you asking me about that?
No. I know what barbarism. I know what barbarism is what I'm saying.
I mean, dude, did you see them not storm the Capitol building and they killed 4 people or 5 people?
Okay.
They killed police officers after they said, "Hey, we back to blue."
Wait, hold on. So because Tim Weiss doesn't talk about something that someone with common sense should know anyway, because Tim Weiss in his talks didn't say something like, "Hey, by the way, don't be a dickhead and kill black people or kill other people or storm the Capitol," then he's not a white ally. That's what I'm trying to.
I never said that. I asked you, What does he do to make him a white ally?
That's why I'm asking. And then you said, well, he doesn't talk against barbarism. I'm like, why would you have to talk against barbarism?
That's just one thing. I never say he didn't. I'm saying, why should he have to talk against that? But I'm asking you.
That's what I'm asking too.
What are you asking?
Well, the reason he's a white ally, I guess, is as much as I am, is, like he's willing to talk about the issues. He's willing to talk to other white people about the issues. He's willing to educate himself and talk to other white people about the issues. He's willing to, well, I don't know about him, but I'm willing to put money into black businesses, minority businesses. I'm okay with that. I mean, it may not seem like a lot, but, I do everything I can do. You know what I mean?
So what does Tim Weiss do that makes him an ally?
What Tim Weiss does is he went out there and he learned, and he teaches other people about racism and how to not be racist. I mean, doesn't that make him an ally?
No, he's not an ally. Because I haven't seen him put one. I haven't. So I want to see him put some kind of legislation together. I want to see him actually out people that he actually sees doing racist activity. The covert racist activity would help. See, to be an ally, you can't just say, I'm going to do this and that's it. You have to actually be able to say, hey, what do you guys need, and actually do that. That's being an ally.
Well, I kind of get that. Yeah,
not just calling out racism. I mean, we can see overt racism. You don't need to tell us the light is red if we can see that the light is red. We can see that.
No, overt racism is not the problem nowadays. That's what I was trying to get into before I got mad. Is overt racism not the problem? Overt racism is no longer the problem, not the major problem. It's the implicit, not the explicit racism is what's the problem. For example, and this is a really stupid, really easy example. Is like you go interview for a job, and someone's like, yeah, I just had to interview one black guy. You're not going to get the job. That's explicit racism. That's how they used to do it. Now they're just like, oh, okay, yeah, man, we'll give you a call. And you can't really tell if they're being racist or not, but you get an idea. Now, implicit racism is really, really, really hard to fight because you can't give proof. You know, but you can't give proof. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, when you talk about these guys who are overtly barbaric and openly racist, those guys are not going to get traction. But what's going to happen is...
Okay, well, let me just stop you right there. The thing is, I don't want to have to deal with somebody that I have to wonder if they're racist or not. So it will be better to just be hired by another black person. That's why businesses are important.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't have to wonder if somebody is being racist and they're afraid to just admit that they're racist. Just get away from me.
So do you believe, we talked about this before, but, like, do you really believe, like, it would be beneficial to stay away from white people altogether until you get your shit together? Or forever?
What do you mean stay away from white people until you get your shit together?
Well, until you have your economic base, until you have, like, a strong sense of community, things of that nature.
Well, we're in close proximity to white people.
I'm putting it too simply. Well, I'm putting it too simply. What'd you say?
I said we're in close proximity to white people, but we don't necessarily deal with white people all the time. I'm not saying you just don't deal with people. You should be polite to people, especially if you're not really trying to have them in your life and it's just a quick, interaction with the person. Why even?
No, I'm saying like when it comes to, and I understand that and I get that, and you're right. Like, you should still be polite to people, but nowadays we have the internet, we have things like that. You can have your own community and you can build your own economic base, still living within white people.
Well, that's what everybody else does. That's what everybody else does.
Do you think? So you as a black man, what are you going to do to take those steps? Are you going to, like, invest in black banks? Are you going to?
Yeah, we just have to continue to. It's a step-by-step process. Just have to continue to, do business with our own as much as possible, and we just have to continue to create those industries.
And so what happened with Tim Weiss? I want you to finish that story. So what exactly was the exchange? So you tweeted
I don't remember totally. I just remember he said something that I disagreed with, and whatever I said, he didn't like it, and he got super angry and started just making up lies. And I'm like, dude, you're a liar. You just made this stuff up. And somebody that would just make up stuff out of thin air that doesn't know somebody is clearly not a trustworthy person. And then when I just look at what he does, he just calls overt racist. That's not really doing anything, and he's just getting paid to do it. I mean, a white person that looks at Black history doesn't impress me. It actually puts my antennas up. Because why do you care? Because you're not really doing nothing but just calling out overt racist, and you're not doing anything about it.
Right. So you're trying to be cool. You're trying to be down, basically.
I don't know what he's trying to do. I just know he's a liar, and he made up stuff about me that was clearly untrue.
Well, again, we talked about this last time because I really do. We talked about this last time. Is I would like to do more than just sit here and talk to you. You know what I mean? But I'd like to support Black businesses. Like I would actually like to take action. Other than calling
we
out
need
racists,
we need people
doing the same thing.
that are willing to call out undercover racism. So we have somebody on the phone. Let's see who this caller is. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hey, what's up?
And where you calling from?
This is Naj.
All right.
This is Naj. I'm in Atlanta.
All right, what's going on, man?
Yeah,
did you hear what we're talking about?
Sitting here listening to y'all, man. This is interesting.
All right, so what did you find interesting about the subject?
Well, I guess the first thing would be the topic of Tim Wise, because y'all are coming at it from two interesting perspectives. You're saying the Tim Wise stuff is basically symbolic and a whole lot of display, which I would agree with. And I think he's saying, well, he educates people in this way and that way, But I guess you got to go to the end result. And I think what you see from Tim Wise and other people like him is the end result becomes people become educated on what language to use and when to use it, and then that makes their passage through diverse places easier. So essentially they learn to say African American, or they learn the new buzzword that's out within academia, or they learn not to disrespect people in a way that they'd never thought of, but, something that happens in social graces. Then the other part of it is, and you see a lot of Black educators talk about this, Tim Wise has gotten money to go to a lot of conferences that had no Black person up speaking, because Tim Wise was the one there speaking, which becomes a whole nother thing. So I can definitely understand the suspicion of Tim Wise. I felt a lot of the same about that dude. So do I think a lot of what he does, what he does is performative? Yes. Does it help a little bit? Yes. Does he deserve the birthday cake and celebration that he gets for it? No. At a certain point, it becomes career making and an easy way to sell books.
Right.
And, go on the lectern and get out there and do your speech thing.
Think about that. You get paid
what you're saying is basically Tim Wise being performative, which I can understand that, right? And I get that. And I think any white people trying to be an ally, like, you're going to get that. But he's basically teaching other people how to be performative, is what you're saying, right? Right, he's teaching other people how to be performative.
I think that's the gist of it, because more than anything, it's not about getting the title of ally. More than anything, it's about, somebody being a person who is against injustice, period. Not because you're going to go do something for Black folks so you take away a little bit of your own guilt. No, you do something because that's the type of person you are. You say injustice, inequality, and those things are not right to you, period. And as a person, in your own development, in your own way to become whatever it is that you want to be, that's a part of the process. Those are the people, and most of those people who act like they wouldn't call themselves allies or anything else. It's just who those people are. You know what I'm saying?
Just trying to be human beings.
Seeing the world through the eyes of humanity.
Yeah. The only reason I use ally is just because, like, this is how people understand it. Like, so I'm trying to be one of those people, but I understand I have gaps in my knowledge, right? There's gaps in my knowledge, there's gaps in my things, but I do recognize it as something that is, I don't like, and I feel like I could have a part in helping people. I just have a part in helping people, just period. But it's really hard for me because there's not a lot of action I could take besides, just talking to Mchezo, having people listen to the podcast like you, Nas, and, just trying to learn and stuff like that. Like, I really don't get the option where I'm at to really contribute to black business. The only thing I could do is just, right now, is just, if I see other white people that, step out of line that, would say something when my ex wasn't around, like say something racist, I got to, check them.
Well, this is the thing,
okay. Well, let me say something real quick. I'll get out you guys' way. I know y'all got a show to do. But just
no,
real quick.
You're good.
Let's say Tim Wise became a mainstream guy, go-to guy for news, and people went to him, people read his books, and people started to take up his positions. Would that change the conditions of black people in America? And the answer to that would be no. So
no.
Until people are actually willing to, and this is the tough part, risk some of the things that they gain because other people are locked out of the system, then we're going to have these issues, regardless of if they update their language, regardless of if they learn to perform better amongst other people.
We talk about that a lot, dude.
That's just the bottom line.
And
Nas,
I wanted
all the time, dude.
Yeah, Nas, I wanted to touch on something you said about the Tim Weiss thing, going to places and being a white speaker and no black speakers. One thing I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this too, but some black people love to have a white person speak on their behalf. Do you think that's what it is, to actually see like, yeah, he's a white guy speaking up? You think that's what it is?
I mean that does happen sometimes. Or that'll make you popular, of course, because then people are like, yo, okay, this guy is saying some of the same stuff we are, and he understands what's going on. So, yeah, that does make you popular. But I would say most of those speaking engagements and things like that that he gets, we're not talking about majority black spaces. We're talking about majority white spaces where he comes in as, the guy who's going to get them together. They had something in Portland called the White Privilege Conference for a few years, where they would have different speakers come through there. And, of course, the majority of the speakers were white. The majority of the attendees were white. So, I mean,
So as other people, this is a big hustle to just, basically, we just, so like I said, he's one of them. That's what I'm saying, bro. Tim Weiss he's a real power racist. That's all he is. I'd rather have the whole thing. This whole thing. I don't need Tim Weiss to educate these people. The whole thing is, hey, you can call me the N-word all you want. Just give me some money, and I'll get out of your way, and I'll do me. You do you. The thing is, they so hate-filled and jealous that they like, well, no, if you do that, then you're gonna be successful, and that's gonna make us feel bad.
Man, it's hard, man. It's hard, especially like. I'm not one of those people, like, I don't need, like, what'd you say?
I said, I guess it's hard for y'all to get over y'all jealous feelings.
Well, it doesn't pay as well as accepting the status quo does. So once you become a white person who says, I'm going to investigate history, I'm going to check into some of these things that I've been told, some of these things I've been taught, and why the world is the way that it is. Now, once you go along that journey, there's going to be some tough truths that you run into. Not many people are willing to take that on.
Yeah,
dude, it sucks, man. Because like you sit back there and like, so I'll just tell you about mine. Is like, I've had black friends since I was little, and it's not, like I count them on the hands or anything like that. I was just a big hip hop head, and that's how I got these black friends. And then it became friends for another reason, whatever. And then, I've been there, like, when they've gone through shit, and I'm a huge history buff, right? So Nas, I don't know how old you are, man, but, me, you, and Mchezo, we all learned the same history, and it was not black history.
I didn't learn the same history.
Yeah. So, like, when I started learning about Black history, I'm like, good God, man. Like, I'm not a white tears guy. Like, I don't feel guilty. Like, I recognize white privilege. You know, I get all this stuff, right? But, like, when I look at other white people who just refuse to learn, man, refuse to accept, refuse to learn, and that's a point that you made earlier, Nas, is, you know, I tell Mchezo all the time, I'm like, dude, we're still protesting. Protesting is supposed to bring awareness to a subject. This subject is, at least in America, is 400 years old, and we're still trying to bring awareness. Like, I mean,
well,
you know, it's really
that's what I was saying. Like, think about the profit that you get. Okay, so let's say you're a white person who takes on that exploratory journey. How does that pay off for you? Does it pay off in the form of happiness? Getting along with people? Probably not. What pays off?
No, man, it made me much more
frustrated.
frustrated.
That black people are more than likely all of the stereotypes that we're given every day, and the situation is the way that it is because black people just won't do right. Much easier to swallow, much easier to accept. You get to go through your life and not even question things. So that's the dilemma there. That's why it becomes so hard for, you know, people from certain backgrounds to become more human and more revolutionary. Ain't too many John Browns out there. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to do, man.
All right.
Well, we talk about this all the time, like, because yeah, you did make it, because like we talk about this all the time. It's not just racism, right? It's anything. It's like, you know, having introspection and admitting that you're wrong about something. People just can't do for some reason. I mean, that's the only way you grow as a human being, right? So for some reason,
I would say so. But see, I wouldn't do that for some reason thing, though. I wouldn't do that for some reason thing. The incentives say it's better for you not to know, better for you never to explore, better to you to assume the worst about another group.
Well, it's the path of least resistance.
For the other side. Yeah. So the fact that those incentives weigh that way, that's why the majority of people choose that route. So we kind of have to say that because that's a part of it. You will be rewarded for that.
Right. They don't want to give that up and have to compete. You know what I'm saying? And have to deal with the reality of things. That's why it's easier.
Right.
You know, it's easier. That's why I don't necessarily blame them. I'm just saying, hey, this is not going to help you out in the long run either. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to get uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone, and we will grow as a society. If not, then I mean, you can see that it's kind of devolving. You know, and some people want to stay in a certain way of thinking that's not going to be for the future, and you know, you see what they're doing. So that's all I'm saying. I can understand it. I mean, people in general seem to have a hard time getting out of their comfort zone, myself included. So
no matter the subject, yep. We all do it.
Yep.
We all do it.
Yep. Me too.
Hey man,
in this case,
yeah,
it'll pay off a lot better if people kind of understand why the world is the way that it is and what needs to change. Otherwise, we'll continue on the decline that we're on now. We will continue to push mediocrity with the idea of basically a caste system based on apartheid that we want to take into the next century. And guess what? You're competing against the rest of the world who doesn't have those issues.
Right.
Not a good outlook.
Right.
Right.
That's
what I'm saying. The fear of some people is basically self-destructing this country, and they don't care. They either too afraid, they too caught up in emotions to see it, and they too afraid to face it. And like, hey,
right.
Fine as a country, and you can still do, you know what I'm saying, do you know what I'm saying, but it's a lot of emotions going on and a lot of fear and worried about being better to somebody. That's what it is, man. It's a lot of it. Hey, man.
Man, it's been a pleasure, dude. Yeah,
man, I'm definitely calling again, man. Good talking to y'all.
All right, man.
I got nothing else to add. I hang up and listen to y'all, man, but have a good show.
All right.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. So
that was a good one, man. So apparently we got some people with some sense listening to our show. So that's good.
Well, so we'll just end it at that then. I mean, I agree with a lot of what he said. I mean, it just makes sense. It's logical. And, I mean, like I said, I'm not the only person that sees this. He sees it, and he brought even another perspective of Tim White. So just his insight on how he sees society and how things need to change and why they need to change, and understanding, hey, I understand why white person be racist, but I'm just saying, like how he sees it, it's not going to be beneficial for the future and going forward. You know what I'm saying? It's you can't use old technology and old software and old ways of thinking, because what's going to happen eventually, I think they correct itself anyway, but we're just going to have too much competition from other countries. And while people are fighting and worried about what the next man is doing here, the other countries are going to have another China and more competition to the point where America is no longer number one. So it's important.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to
those things.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I'm going to bring it back to the lighthearted thing. I will apologize to you because, like, I do respect you and your opinion, and I will apologize to you for getting heated earlier. I was just in my feelings.
Oh man, that's how you truly feel. No big deal.
No. I don't feel like you're an idiot. I was just trying to say mean things. Honestly.
Well, hurt people. That's why you see a lot of the violence out here. So I mean. But
at least we can come back from that and like be grown ups. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I fucked up. That was my fault. Yeah.
You have to be able to
my fault,
show people that you can have conversations with people that you disagree with, and still be willing to hear different perspectives and things of that nature.
Well, even you can argue, and you can get heated. You can get out of pocket and still come back and be like, And this is introspection, right? This is just what me, you, and Nons were talking about. Is I fucked up. I shouldn't have got that heated. Said some stupid shit, and I feel bad about it, man. But we'll still do this next Sunday, and everything's good. So I'm going to leave it on a light note. Who do you want to win? You want the Chiefs? Or you want the
football? Well, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game right now, and the Chiefs are. Looks like they're about to win this game, because they pretty much dominate in Buffalo right now. So it's going to be Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. So at that point, I really don't care.
Brady win without Bill. Yeah, I want to see Brady win without Bill.
For him to get to the Super Bowl just shows how great Tom Brady is, even though this is a team effort. And he did throw 3 interceptions. But, they talked about the mindset that he brought to the organization. And it's just great to have somebody who's willing to share their positive energy and experience with other people to improve the team. Understand? You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Real quick, I know we're trying to get off here, but real quick, one thing I did read today about Tom Brady is, Tom Brady, I forget how old he is, but, he's over 40. And there's only 2 things in his life, right, in this article I read. It's just football, which is 90% of it, and it's his family. And he does not have anything else in his life, right? He's making those sacrifices because he knows he's going to retire at 45 and he's going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. But literally, that's all he has in his life. He had to make all these sacrifices, but he's going to go out as the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah,
so that's something for people to think about.
Yeah. I like Elway
anyway,
better,
man.
But Tom is great. Tom is great. You can't argue. Well, you can argue, I guess, but you got to get that guy.
I don't think at this point,
Super Bowls,
if he wins, I don't think so. If he wins, I don't think you can argue anymore. After that comeback with Atlanta and, all that stuff, and him winning without Bill, if he wins without Bill, that's it.
Yeah, man. He went to the Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, and, that's big, so,
right.
A lot of people were saying it was Bill. So, all right, so until next time.
Hey, have a good week. I'll talk to you next week.
All right.